Haven't posted a lot recently. Training has been not on hold, but a little bit delayed, I guess. I have my first official super match coming up this weekend at FightCon with Josh, one of the guys that I practice with. So I haven't been, the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I haven't been working out as much, trying to save myself as much as I can for the last two practices before the super match, just to try and get the most out of the practices more than weights. But I mean, this is it. I've done just about everything that I can do. Now I have just, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, super lightweight. Just trying to keep some blood flowing is all. I'm not working out to a sweat or soreness or anything like that. This will be the first time that I've gone this long without really working out in a long time. So I'm anxious to see how my body responds, how my muscles respond, how my strength especially responds to getting a good solid 8 or 9 days of recovery for the super match. I have my plan that I've come up with of what I'm going to do round one, what I'll do if I win round one, what I'll do if I lose round one. I'm excited though. Win or lose, this super match has helped me focus in on arm wrestling just a little bit more, take it a little bit more seriously. Not that I wasn't before, but when you have an actual date with something's happening with what you're practicing, if it's a sport, if it's arm wrestling, if it's weightlifting, if you have a meet, you know when you're gonna peak up to that meet. You just have a little bit more motivation. So I'm excited. Even if I don't manage to beat Josh, I think that he might be a little surprised at the difference in just the 5 or 6 weeks since we last pulled, since we don't pull because of the super match anymore at practice. One thing I'm excited about is this cone handle that I just got from Arm Assassin Strength Shop, because my hand is average for my height. It's nothing great, nothing that stands out above the rest with my hand. But my pinky, I feel like, is shorter than most. It's quite small, I feel like, for arm wrestling at least. And I have an issue with low hand top rollers. So I'm hoping this handle, I'm not going to get any benefit out of it really before the super match. I'm just doing it extremely lightweight just to keep blood flowing, trying to help recovery as much, try and keep blood, force blood into the tendons and the musculature. But I'm excited to use this going forward. I have some ideas of kind of a new workout system that I'm going to try for at least a couple weeks after my super match. I'll have 6 weeks before the Brzenk Cup here in Utah that I'll be pulling at. So I might do this new training method for the next 5 weeks after my super match and see if there's any improvement at the Brzenk Cup or not, how I feel. It's going to be, I'm curious about the way that, the lariats work out. And I've been hesitant to try and just, take everything Devin does and just try and mimic it exactly, because I don't arm wrestle how he arm wrestles. He's 6'9", and I'm 6 foot. So very different at arm wrestling. And so how I like to arm wrestle is not how he does. But not that I'm going to copy what they do, but more I'm just curious about their style of arm wrestling, right? The almost the philosophy behind it, where they do. I mean, at least what they put out, right? Who knows what they actually do? But based on what they put out, is they work out more during the day, more sets of high intensity but lower rep. You know, just to build that top end strength. And I've been doing a lot of like heavy weight, but as many reps as possible, pretty much every set. It's hard for me to not put in the time working out, you know, just tons of reps, tons of sets, because when you do that, you feel like you've worked out. But that doesn't mean it translates to, you know, optimal solution for, you know, either muscle gain or strength gain. I think I did a bodybuilding style workouts for too long since college that it's bled over into my arm wrestling, which needs to be more strength focused. You know, because I don't care what I look like. I don't care what my forearm looks like or my bicep. All I care about is the strength in my hand, in my wrist, in my forearm, you know. So I'm going to see if I can do a couple weeks, probably a solid 4 or 5 weeks, and see if the Brzenk Cup, if there's any noticeable changes in my strength, you know. So I'm going to do, like with this cone, I was watching one of Matt Silva's videos. I don't know if you know who that is. It's just an arm wrestling guy. For some reason came across my YouTube feed. So I followed him. He seems like he has some good ideas of working out and getting stronger, especially like thickening up the hand and the wrist. Things that I was already doing, some of them, right? But he had, and I've seen lots of other people do this, and this wasn't his idea. It's just where I saw it, right? But, you know, putting a brace around you like this, and then, you know, really, and this won't work so much for, this is a bad example. This really wouldn't work for the cone because you're dragging it back. But for something like a riser lift, right? So if I were to just do riser, now when I pull back, I'm not having to use my arm. All the weight is just on my riser, so I can just lean back and hope that my wrist holds it, instead of like this where I'm having to use my, you know, your hammer strength muscle, your brachioradialis right here, to pull back as well. So you use that in a lot of different movements, so it'll get fatigued. So if you're trying to 1 rep max, or if you're working out really heavy on a lot of different implements in the same workout, it might get difficult, and you'll be cucked a little bit by your brachioradialis getting worked out so much. So I'll be using that for my riser lift. I don't think I'm going to use it for just strictly back pressure. Well, you wouldn't use it for back pressure because back pressure is your brachioradialis. You don't want to isolate that. But anything where I can use it to isolate my wrist to save my brachioradialis for big lifts, I'm going to try that. And I'm going to try doing, you know, I think I'm going to do something like a 5 weeks out. I'll do sets of 5, like 5 sets of 5. Make sure that like the 5th rep is pretty much max effort, but something that I can get, you know, may not be max effort the first couple sets, but the second to last set or the last set, I want those last 1 or 2 reps to really be max effort. So first week start out with like 5 sets of 5, right? For the cone, I don't think I'm going to be curling in. I think it's just going to be dragging back without losing my hand. Like, that would be a failure, right? So I want to get a grip, the same grip, same location, which is right above the line, right above the strap, right? And not have my pinky open up at all and be able to drag it back. Now this is only like 10 pounds on here, if that. So it's really light, but I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Instead of like just doing 10, 20, 30 reps really heavy of something, I'm going to try and find a weight that 5 sets of 5 will feel really good, and the next week I'll do maybe 4 sets of 4, 3 sets of 3, so on and so forth until the week before the Brzenk Cup. See if I can max out a 1 rep and see if there's been any improvement. So I'll probably do a 1 rep, you know, maybe the Friday after my competition, because Todd Hutchins is coming to practice here in Utah the Thursday after competition. So I'm sure that practice I'll get destroyed as well, because it'll be big. Everyone's going to be there. But I'm excited, but I'm hoping I can stick to it, because if I don't feel like I've really got a good workout, a good pump at the end of my training, it's very likely that I'm just going to go back and just work out until I'm dead, right? Because that's just how I'm used to working out. It's just doing sets and reps until I just can't go heavier, can't do any more to failure, right? That, I know that's not optimal for strength training. I mean, even following people like Brian Shaw, his strongman training, Thor, Eddie Hall, all those guys, like following their, because strongman is very similar to arm wrestling in that they're looking for top end strength. They don't care what their body looks like. It's all about strength, right? So Thor, especially because he's like still active in strongman once again, and he's like one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, at least. But if you look at his training regimen, again, at least what he says on YouTube and puts out on YouTube, but it's like he'll top out at 3 sets of 3, and he's like, yeah, that felt good, that didn't feel too bad, I could go heavier, but I'm gonna stick to the program, right? Sticking to the program. I'm sure there's something to that. I just have not really been able to do that for a significant amount of time to where it would actually make a difference. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I love the adrenaline rush going up to a table against somebody, especially in this format, like a super match where I called him out and it's me versus him and we both know it going into it. Not like a normal, competition where it's just by weight class. You don't know who you're gonna go up against first or whatever. You might know who's coming, but in this case, knowing who I'm coming up against and knowing that he's almost always had the upper hand in practice. I've beat him a few times, but who knows? I could have been feeling 100% that practice. He could have been feeling 70, 80% or something like that. But you don't want to call out somebody that you can beat, right? Where's the motivation in that? That wouldn't make you train hard. So even if he beats me like he does in practice, and it's just like not a blowout. I don't think it would be a blowout. It's usually a fight, but his hand is usually always a little bit stronger in his pronation. But I mean, even if I lose, hopefully I know he's taking it seriously. So if nothing else, maybe it just upped both of our levels. And he's a good guy. I like Josh a lot. So didn't call him out because I want to beat him. It's just he's the closest one that I practice with. It's above me still, that I feel like is achievable, but still difficult, right? Just trying to keep blood flowing in my arm, trying to get recovery as good as possible. I'm really curious about my riser as well. I don't know what it is, but ever since I did that 77.5 or whatever it was, it just has not, the strength has not come back. I don't know if I'm working it out too much. If I injured it without feeling an injury or something like that. But every time I've tried to max out, I think the most I've done is 70 since then. So that's like almost 10%, something like that. About a 10% drop. So I'd love to test it out here in 1 or 2 days when I've gotten like 4 or 5 days of solid recovery, no stress on them besides, some easy lightweight muscle flow. but I'm not going to try and one rep right before a competition, especially a super match. So just try and pump as much blood, eat as much protein as I can. I weighed this morning 234, so I'm down about 10 solid pounds of like walking around weight without a water cut, 10, 11 pounds of just average body weight in the past month. I haven't been keeping my diet strict just because I reached the weight that I wanted to get to before this competition. Because, I mean, I just have to get down to 232. That's the top of the weight class for the light heavyweight. So, is it light heavyweight or heavyweight? I think this is the heavyweight. Because 232 plus is super heavyweight. So this will be the heavyweight category. But in the Brzenk Cup, I want to get down to like the 220. Walking around at 220, that'll be my average steady weight, and I think then I should be able to drop down, do a water cut to whatever the light heavyweight is, and that's really where I want to be at right now, at least, is the light heavyweight. If I can walk around at a 220 body weight, I think I'll be super happy with that, and I'll be able to, in most competitions, I should be able to reach whatever the light heavyweight is. So I mean, standard heavyweight is 115 kgs, which is 253 pounds. Light heavyweight is 105, right? Which is 231 pounds. So I'm pretty much at the light heavyweight for like East versus West standards, all that. But the local competitions, they all have their own range. Like the Brzenk Cup, heavyweight goes up to 242 or 243. But in this competition, it's 232. So if I can get to 220, I should be able to make the weight class I want to get to. No soreness, just pumping, getting little pumps, making sure I'm forcing the blood in everywhere I possibly can on my arm. I am going to start posting more videos after this competition, just of my training. I like having it for myself. My YouTube channel is never going to blow up. I don't care about that, really. I like being able to go back and see my progression and have evidence for myself of, like, you know, just progress, strength increase, progress. Being able to look back at training, at form, stuff like that. I do want to see about perhaps like videoing, taking video during practice at Bob's every Thursday. It's kind of awkward though, because you kind of got to get everyone else's approval that's going to be in the video just to not be a dick, right? I don't think Bob would necessarily care. You'd have to ask him first, but I think it would be fun to get video of practice. And I should do a video of my past competitions, my past matches. Just kind of do a review of them, where I went wrong. Because it's pretty much only been doing wrong, right? I've only won one official right-handed match in 3 competitions, which is really bad. But that's fine. I've gotten significantly better since my last competition, I feel like. So things are going to start changing. I will check back in after the competition.